Oh, the shoe is on the other foot, and all the George Soros funded Media Matters organization types are pissed. And the lefties, the Dems, the controllers and tyrants in general, the wannabe dictators, they are losing one of their favorite toys. Because it turns out when you cross Elon Musk on X, he's going to sue you into existence, and Donald Trump, through the government auspices, is going to take you on with the FTC for your manipulative practices. Yeah, targeting conservatives. Yeah, this one you're going to really enjoy, because if you're not familiar with Media Matters, you are going to get a crash course on how they are circling the drain, just like Davey Hogg, because we are in a new era. So, if you want to join that new era, make sure you hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, turn the notification bell on to get past that testy little YouTube algorithm that doesn't want this message of freedom to go through their smoke screen. Make sure you haven't been unsubscribed. All right, let's get into this, guys. Okay. So, follow me at Braden LOA, of course, on X. That's right here. That kind of goes without saying. It's one of the hallmarks of the episodes. We got to get our voices out there, and it's a great way to do it. Okay, listen. If you are not familiar with Media Matters, what Media Matters is a self-described guerrilla operation where they just make up things and they basically send ad revenue and ad sponsors away from talk show hosts and corporate entities that would be conservative leaning in order to drown them out because they can't compete on the ideological battlefield. That's what Media Matters is. George Soros funded, hundreds of millions of dollars helping the Democrats. Yeah, it's in some deep shit. Okay, let's keep going. Under siege from Trump and Musk, a top liberal group falls into crisis. Darn. Scrambling to pay legal fees, Media Matters has dialed back its criticism, trimmed its staff, and contemplating closing entirely. Does this sound familiar, guys? Because what I say on this channel is all the time, we are winning. We are making inroads. We are turning the corner. Yeah, this is exactly like Davey Hogg's group, March for Our Lives. They fired 13 of their 16 staffers because they don't have the capital. They don't have the money. No one cares. No one likes them. It's the same thing here with Media Matters, only Media Matters is a much bigger scale and they crossed the wrong people. Check this out. So, of course, you can see the CEO standing defiant in his sweater vest. Angelo Corazon, the president of Media Matters, at his office in 2019. Look at that. The liberal advocacy group has been hobbled by a legal onslaught from Elon Musk and investigations by President Trump's Federal Trade Commission and Republican states' attorneys general. Hey, that sounds kind of like Letitia James from New York in the NRA, doesn't it? Yeah. Turnabout's fair play. Dill holes. As you can see, July 25th is the time frame of this article. Media Matters, a non-profit group that has played a key role in liberal politics, is struggling to withstand months of legal assaults by President Trump's allies, offering a glimpse of what might be in store for even well-funded targets of his retribution campaigns. Yeah, because they're just sitting there driven as pure as the driven snow. Just, so innocent. Just trying to put out their ideas in the field of politics. They're not driving away ad sponsors and making up manipulative stories and then frivolous lawsuits to drown everybody out and kill them in legal fees. No, they wouldn't do that, backed by George Soros. Yeah, they would. So this whole retribution campaign, you're just getting what's coming to you because you're a bunch of dill holes. The organization, which is funded by some of the Democratic Party's biggest donors, has racked up about $15 million in legal fees over the past 20 months to defend itself against lawsuits by Elon Musk, in addition to investigation by Mr. Trump's Federal Trade Commission and Republican state attorneys general. That is President Trump to you. And Republican states attorneys general are some of our favorites. One of the rising stars, Andrew Bailey from Missouri, is among them. Yep, we can do it too. You crack this door open, we're going to drive an elephant right through it. You shouldn't have started it. Anyway, the group has slashed the size of its staff and scrambling to raise more cash from skittish donors, according to documents and interviews with 11 people familiar with the organization's fight to survive. That might not be enough. Media Matters tried to settle with Mr. Musk by offering concessions, but the sides were far apart and talks fizzled. That's because you drove away ad revenue and ad sponsors from X to the tune of $75 million. And now, because you're getting sued and called on the carpet from someone who has more money than George Soros, all of a sudden now it's, let's be friends and have some concessions. Yeah, no. Read between these three lines and you can guess which one it is. Sit and spin. Because what these people did was they targeted people like Rush Limbaugh, they targeted Hannity, they targeted Bongino, Shapiro. They targeted everybody. And now, the chickens are coming home to roost. And I'm not too upset about it. In fact, these people are villains. Even as the battle continues, Media Matters stands as an example of how legal warfare waged by powerful ideological opponents can squelch influential voices and stifle political dissent. That's exactly what they did. The group says it has dialed back its criticism of Mr. Musk and the Trump FTC. The Trump FTC Media Matters has also been frozen out by some allies, and it has faced plummeting staff morale, rising infighting, and security concerns. Listen, don't start the fight you couldn't finish, and now you're going to be finished. Soros is backing away from it. All the big rich mega donors of the Democratic Party, which, by the way, all of a sudden, mega donors are okay if they're your mega donors. They're not okay if they're somebody else, right? Money for the millionaires and the billionaires is only applicable if it's on the other side of the political aisle. Anyway. But Media Matters has raised nearly $250 million in the 2 decades between its creation in 2003 and the end of 2023. In 20 years, they raised $250 million meant to basically wage guerrilla warfare against their political opponents because the Democrats couldn't do it, but they were an NGO formed and funded by George Soros. So then they could go out and they could do whatever they wanted, and the Democrats could get the benefit and say, oh, but we didn't do it. That's the way this works. Anyway, establishing itself as a force in the Democratic politics by effectively undermining major right-wing media figures and politicians. That's exactly what they did. But now, all of a sudden, mea culpa, mea culpa. No. The bleak outlook now facing the group underscores the serious harms that can be inflicted when the Trump administration and its allies train the vast resources of government or billionaire bank accounts on perceived enemies. Are you guys reading this whole thing? We're doing it together. I link everything in the description box below to show you how blind these people are. Well, sure, we raised $250 million over a 20-year period to conduct guerrilla warfare and attack right-wing influencers and politicians. But now, with the Trump FTC and a billionaire piggy bank, we're getting mean because we're perceived enemies. No, you just got outplayed in your own game. And now, you're going to go bye-bye. Let's continue. I got more for you. There's the guy doing it right there. Oh, Elon. Now, Media Matters has been defending itself on more legal fronts and for longer than most of the targets of the Trump allies, and its identity is more fundamentally linked to fighting Republicans and their allies. It is also particularly susceptible because of its dependence on maintaining the confidence and confidentiality of rich Democratic benefactors. So, rich Democratic benefactors are perfectly fine. But if you're a rich Republican, ooh, you are evil. Why do you hate people out there in America? Yeah, but it's okay because the confidentiality of the dark money. Yeah, You seeing the bullshit these guys are peddling? It's okay for me. It's not okay for thee. Do you see this? Guys, this is why no one likes the Democrats. Don't get me, the Republicans are in their own world of shit right now. But legitimately, this is why no one likes the Democrats. Initially, Media Matters targeted conservative talk radio and Fox News through fact-checking, advertiser boycotts, and what Mr. Brock described as guerrilla warfare and sabotage. Now, Mr. Brock is an internal person at Media Matters. That's what they did. They set out to destroy people's livelihoods so they couldn't be on the air anymore. It's kind of like the YouTube cancellation model that the gun controllers are always doing to, us. Where every time for gun safety, we'll send letters to sitting senators, and they'll send letters to YouTube. So basically it goes every time for gun safety, and then it goes to senators, the Democrat side, and then that goes to the Google or YouTube CEOs. This is how it works. They do the exact same thing to us. Guerrilla warfare and sabotage. They try to cut us off, which is why a lot of us have to procure sponsors because they can do this to us. That's the whole point. Anyway, let's continue. Advertiser boycotts. Yeah, you tried to cancel us. Later that month, X sued in federal court, claiming that Media Matters had manipulated the site to bypass safeguards and display advertisements next to incendiary posts in an effort to damage X's relationships with advertisers. In a December 2023 live stream on X, Mr. Musk took aim at Media Matters, telling listeners, "We will pursue not just the organization, but anyone funding the organization." Oh my God, would you look at that? Now, does it make more sense when we go right up here where it's talking about the confidentiality of rich Democratic benefactors? They don't want their names on it because they know what they're doing. It was dark, evil, guerrilla sabotage. That's what they were doing. Anyway, And there, right there is the point where I told you X, it cost more than $75 million in revenue through the end of the year. Yeah, that's because they went out and they basically manipulated the algorithm and they said, oh my goodness gracious, this advertiser for Coke went over here, was next to a very incendiary post. You sure you want to advertise with X? And you know how I know that's what they did? Because I experienced it personally. Let me go big with you real quick. I have been demonetized on this channel twice in the lifetime of this channel. The first time was because I did something wrong and it was my fault. I violated the rules on accident. I didn't know. There were some circumstances that caught me off guard, and honestly, it was my fault, and I dealt with it. I took that pill and I swallowed it. The second time was in Adpocalypse, and the way that this worked was a Coke ad was in front of a very bad video, and then YouTube demonetized effectively anyone on the conservative side of the space because of this type of action right here. This was the whole point. This is how they did it. The New York Times was the one that actually broke the story the first time. This is how they try to drown us out. Anyway, let's continue. I think there's a couple more things I want to show you in here. No, there's not. So the bottom line on this, guys, and this is where I'm going to wrap this whole thing up. Media Matters is one of the wings of the Democrat Party where they could come in and they could say, oh man, Media Matters released this report, but the DNC didn't release it, but it just happened to benefit the DNC, and it happened to influence right-wing influencers and creators in a negative light. But you know what? Rules are rules, and that's what they would do. And now they're going to go out of business because they're a bunch of shitbags. And I have no problem cursing in this video because they deserve it. Anyway, let me know what you guys think in the comments below. We are winning. More than 51% of the time is a move in the right direction, and I will see you on the next one. I'm Braden. See you later.